talking about. Like, they made decisions in government. The black people helped establish the Whig and the Republican Party. So, like, what do we, like, what, like, people don't know about this. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I think we should be teaching from a, it should be, hey, we had X, Y, and Z, and these folks were involved, and these folks were involved. We don't need to highlight the color. To me, we shouldn't highlight the color, because you'll see it. We got the pictures. Like, listen, we got pictures. Like, look, you'll see the way. If imagine if you grow up in a world where, and just this one William dream world. Imagine we grow up in a world where we turn around and when they teach a history class, you see all the pictures of all the different colored people, and we never. Let's say we never even brought up race. Say we just taught it. Kids would never even have a perspective of race. They'd be like, oh, okay, that's so and so. That's so and so. That's so and so. That's so and so. You see what I'm saying?
That would be a great way to teach American history. If you're going to talk about America being a melting pot, instead of highlighting all their differences,
right.
Just put them up next to each other as equals. You know,
right.
and show them that no matter what or where you started from, you always have a chance to make it out on top.
Right. Exactly.
I feel like that'd be more powerful to give to kids
absolutely.
than teaching them that they're less than or more than because of any other factor.
Right.
You know.
Right. And I agree, Majestic. All cultures have that. They are here in America. America is the melting pot. America is probably the most diverse nation. Is one of the most diverse nations in history. Like, I agree with that. And I think that when we teach things, yeah, we can talk about different cultural influences. Absolutely. We can talk about some of that stuff. Absolutely. My issue is when it's used as a means to say one is better or worse. When it's used as a means to say that white people should be all guilty because of slavery and we need to, whatever. Or black people need to understand that no matter how hard you work, because you black, you still a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like that jump, bro, that jump frustrates me, bro, because it's like we have more, bro. Here's my thing, bro. We have more black millionaires in history than we've ever had right now. We have more black billionaires. We have more black success. We have more black educated people, black people with masters, black people owning companies and businesses. Like, we got more black people doing some amazing things, but it seems that whenever we teach black anything, it's always from a place of oppression. Like, when I look in the mirror, I don't see a reflection of oppression, bro. Like, we've endured, we've survived, and we've grown and thrived and broken free of a lot of these shackles. But I think a lot of times when we teach the black history or when we teach the true history, it's always reiterating these cultural and mental chains, this slavery that we won't let go of. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, slavery was real. But let's be honest with you. To me, the thing that hurt black people more than anything was things like welfare. I think that hurt the black community and hurt the nation more than anybody. Like, could you think about it? Statistically, out of slavery, we had more families together. Black people had the lowest single-parent household in the nation, period. You had more long-term, successful black business people coming out of, hey, get out of there. Sorry, dog. We have more successful black people doing all kinds of stuff coming out of slavery, changing the face of the nation, impacting the world, coming out of slavery, in segregation. So we're going to teach it. Let's not teach it all doom and gloom. Let's teach history and say, yeah, these people were a part of this. It was black people, Asian people, all kind of people coming together to create this nation. And then guess what? One day somebody had the bright idea that, nah, these people are worse than us because of the color of their skin. And then that's when everything went to crap. You see what I'm saying? When we started discriminating against people because of this, that, and other. And then you had a bunch of people, white too, that's crazy, but white people who fought to free slaves because it was wrong. You have black people who were slave owners. Because if we're going to be real about it, let's be real about it. Let's not teach one side of it. Because that's my problem with all this ethnic-specific teaching. We only teach one side of the spectrum. We don't teach the fact that there were black slave owners. We don't teach the fact that there were Native American slave owners. We don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about the fact that in the whole nation, only about 6% of people own slaves. Like,
yeah, they make it. The way it's sensationalized is that, like, once you cross the Mason-Dixon lines in the South, everybody was a slave owner. You know, like, everybody had a slave. And it's crazy because everything that you said is true, and it resonates because, you know, it's almost like black people became their own worst enemy at a certain point. You know, at a certain point, because it's not about letting go. It's about, okay, some bad shit happened, and like you said, you guys persevered, you endured, you rose above, right? That's the story that you teach. You know what I'm saying? You don't talk about the shackles. You talk about coming out of the shackles, breaking free of the shackles, right?
Yeah.
That's more powerful than the fact that we understand that slavery happened. We know that slavery happened. You're not going to find, you're not going to find anybody who's read one book that will say that like slavery never happened or it wasn't a big deal. It happened. Right. It was a big deal. And I'm not saying you need to let it go, but we need to move past it. We need to move to a point now where it's no longer, well, people can't get ahead because this happened this many years ago. That's bullshit. That's like sitting there saying that, like, I can't be a decent human being because my great grandfather was an alcoholic.
Right.
There's a statute of limitations on how far back you can use shit to justify shitty behavior today.
And don't get me wrong. And my thing is, like, when people talk about, like, okay, well, because people will come to you and say, okay, but what about, like, the effects of slavery and systemic racism and so on and so forth? Okay, here's the thing. The reality is this, and this is the hard reality. This is the part that people get real about, right? The hard reality is that there is no legal limitation on anybody doing anything for any reason. There's no legal limitation when it comes to race. Like, all the things that happened have been legally removed. Now, are there people that still adhere to those beliefs and mindsets and all of that stuff? Yeah, that's true. But now you're fighting an idea. Now you're fighting a belief system. And the reality is, until those people are not in positions, stuff like that is going to happen. But I'm not going to teach you that you can't be successful. I'm not going to teach you that you can't do anything because the system. No, man. You can't tell me that, bro. And I'm going to tell you, bro, this is something else I wanted to bring up, bro. And this is kind of a shift in gear, but it has to do with the school education. And man, I get passionate about this stuff, bro, because it bothers me with these kids.
Yeah, I know.
Is with these kids, when I look at these school systems and I've had the privilege of being in all different types of school systems. I've been in predominantly white, I've been in predominantly black, I've been in schools with a bunch of money, I've been in schools with no money, poverty, everything you can. I've been in almost every sphere. I've been in alternative schools, kids that are trying to stay out of jail, so they got to go to these special schools. Like, I've been in all of those situations. And the issue that I think hurts the black community, that and it hurts me to say it, is us. Because from a perspective, we talk about systemic racism, we talk about all this kind of stuff, but it doesn't. Here's my question. Why is it that I've been in every different type of scale, any type of school, all types of scales, every type of environment, and it never fails that my worst behaved, less engaged, lowest performing, and just most disrespectful students are always the black students? I hate it, bro, and it frustrates me, bro, because we say, well, it's because of X, Y. No. What frustrates me is because when I go to them same schools, I got kids who are from all different types of environments. I got kids who are white, black, brown, blue, Puerto Rican, purple, and Asian, all in the same neighborhoods, dealing with the same poverty, dealing with the same issues. But yet, when I come to the school system, I go to these classes. Why is it that the white kids, the Spanish kids, everybody else, all of them are the ones, they sitting there quietly, they're sitting there doing their work, they're doing what they got to do so they can get out. But it's always my black students who are the ones that are most obnoxious, they're the loudest, they bouncing all over the place. And I love my students, man. I love my kids, but it frustrates me, bro. It frustrates me. And I know where it's coming from. It comes from the household, man. We got so many issues, like we could talk about the system and the man and teaching history and all that kind of stuff. But guess what? Say you get what you want. We go to school and they teach all the black history and all that stuff. But if you got the black students who don't give a darn, then what we talking about? Like, we don't teach. See, we don't teach the value of education. We don't teach. We don't teach that no more, man. And I'm talking about at the house. I'm not talking about at school. The school system, I ain't even worried about school. We already know that it was designed to create workers. I'm not even, like, they don't even teach you how to think no more. I'm talking about at home. It starts at the crib, man. You got to teach these kids that, listen, education is important, and that's the key. Yeah, somebody might not like you because of the color of your skin, but your mind will outgrow anything they try to throw at you. Your mind and your will and your drive is going to push you to a place. And guess what? If somebody don't want you because of the color of your skin, guess what? There's 10 other companies that will. Or how about this? How about you start your own company? Forget them folks, because guess what? Vengeance is the Lord. At the end of the day, they going to get their just desserts, man. You do what you got to do, man. Don't worry about, we need to stop teaching kids to worry about somebody else and worry about themselves. Worry about the individual effort. You give 100%. You do the best you're possibly supposed to do. Be the best possible person you're supposed to do. Seek the best possible good you can think of. That's how you change society, man. You got to get out of all of this. All of this.
100%, man. And 100% right, dude. You're right. Everything starts in the household because, you know, being a paramedic, like I go into people's households all the time. Go into people's households all the time. A couple of the people watching right now, they're paramedics as well. They say the same thing. I've never been a parent. I've been around parents. I've been around really good parents. I've been around some really shitty parents. And I can tell you that if I sit here and I tell you which individuals are good parents, and the two girls watching right now, very good parents. And if you meet their kids, they got good kids. They come from different backgrounds, they live in different neighborhoods, different set of circumstances. But if you were to talk to their children, you would see that they have good children, well-rounded children, caring children, you know. But I've been in households, and you can just tell when the parents have no control over their children. They have no discipline. They're not going to succeed. You just know. Like you just look at somebody like, man, you're 14, you act like that. It's gonna be you're in for a hard life, man.
Yeah, bro.
From minimum wage job to minimum wage job. I try to tell people this all the time. It's not that I believe in certificates and degrees and stuff like that, but those are gateways, right? Those are gateways. You're going to have a much easier life if you graduate with a high school diploma. If you get your GED, that doesn't make you any less than a person who has a high school diploma. But I'm going to tell you off the bat, coming out of high school, whether you go into higher education to go get a job, if you go in and you sit in a waiting room with a resume, and that person has a high school diploma and you have a GED, they're going to look at that high school diploma. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying that's the way it is.
Right.
I've talked to several people here who have owned their own businesses, and you know what these older guys tell me? They said when they look at applicants, depending on the job, they're like, if you have a 4-year degree, it doesn't matter what the degree is. And the reason it doesn't matter is because it shows that you started something and you completed it.
Right.
So it's not the actual education that matters. It's the effort. They want someone who's going to put effort into their company. So your life is going to be and people will be like, oh, I don't need school. Bro, I agree that you can learn anything you want to learn on your own. You want to learn math? Get on YouTube, dude. That's how I got through math in college. The videos they gave me didn't teach me. I got on YouTube and had them dumb it down for me, and they taught me, you know, in a great they stupided it down for me because I'm stupid when it comes to math. And man, it just resonated with me. I found that one dude on YouTube that could teach me. You can teach yourself anything. You want to learn a foreign language? Go learn a foreign language. You can do anything you want. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the way the world is set up, if you come out the gate and if you have a high school diploma, you're going to be leagues ahead of the people that don't. If you go ahead and you get yourself a degree, you're going to be leagues ahead of the people that don't. Not because it makes you smarter, it makes you better. It makes you look good. They see that that's commitment and that you're going to start something and you're going to finish it. And that's what people want to hire. And it sounds shitty. It sounds shitty. But when you have those things, when you have that resume, when you build a resume, and I don't know how many people on here have actually built a resume, it's quite difficult, you know, because you're basically selling yourself to somebody. Like, this is everything that I've ever done in my life, you know, and why you should hire me. When you have to build your resume. When I was building my resume for this job, you know, I had to go back through my entire career in the military. I didn't have a degree, you know, and they're like, oh, you don't need a degree. I get here, dude, everybody has a degree. You know what I'm saying? They're like, why wouldn't you? Well, you have all this, you have time, get a degree. Well, why do I need a degree? I don't feel like I'm going to make any more money with it. They're like, dude, but if you leave here and you go try to get out into the job world and you're competing with, let's say, other veterans, they're not going to look at your combat record, bro. You know, like, they're not going to look at your fucking combat record or the awards that you have. They're going to look at, okay, so he was in the military, he got out and he contracted, but then he didn't do anything else with his life.
Right.
You know, so I went ahead and I got a degree. I don't feel like I'm smarter for it. I learned some things, but like now it's on my resume. And so when I submit that resume to other companies, they say like, okay, so he did all this stuff, but while he was doing this, he also got a degree.
Right.
You know, so education is extremely important. Self-education is extremely important, but exactly what you said, home education. And it's not the type of education where you're learning math. It's how to conduct yourself in society. And this goes back to what we talked about before when we were talking about the war on the family unit. Because when you had families that had a mother and a father, the father went off and he provided and he worked, and the mother stayed home and she raised your kids, nurtured your kids, taught your kids. Okay. We had like, if you look at the generation from the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and you look at it, even with segregation, you look on the black side too, okay, you have a much better product of citizen and human being overall. Because as we denigrated, as we've attacked the family unit, as we've sent women out into the workforce, as men have to get a second job, as inflation has gone up, as we've made, you know, being a man and a woman in a relationship, the woman stays home with your kid, they made it a bad thing. Dude, we're hurting our own society. We're hurting our own society. And we're telling people that, you know, based on your, you know, the reason why your life is hard is because you're black or you're Spanish. Like, no, your life's hard because your mom decided that she wanted to be a single mother while she went through school, so she didn't raise you. The streets raised you. That's what happened. Because your mother and your father didn't work out and had a child. Because there was nobody there to teach you how to be a man or teach you how to be a woman or nurture you or teach you how to shake hands or look people in the eye when you talk to them. That's why we have a bad society now. It's not because of slavery. It's not because of the civil rights movement. It's not even because of drugs. It's not because of anything else except that we no longer have women in the household nurturing our children, and we no longer have men teaching younger men how to conduct themselves.
Right.
Now everybody has to learn everything online. That's
like you said, when stuff goes wrong, it's somebody else's fault. Like we took accountability. There was a time we took accountability for our own actions, and I think that in many aspects, one of the problems is that the issues in, like you said, the issues in your life is not discrimination, it's decisions. Like that's the real issue. Like I've talked to like teenagers and man, coach didn't give me the job. I know why. It's because I'm black. Or it's the fact that your hair is all over creation, you got your pants hanging down, you're wrinkled, and you went to job interview, you didn't finish 10th grade. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons I could go down the list as to why you were not successful in this particular situation. I'm not saying it's the end for you, but I'm saying is that we need to take accountability for what we're doing and what we're teaching. And I think that when we're, and going back to like our original topic about like we're teaching history and stuff like that, I think that instead of worrying about, how about this, we already know the public education system is broke. It's broke. So why don't you take the opportunity to teach your children at the house? Like take the opportunity. Like if you want to teach, okay, we got somebody. We got somebody who wants to jump on the live, yo.
Bring him in.
And we're at the end. But yeah, let's see what we got.
We'll stay for a couple more minutes.
We'll stay for a few extra minutes just for you. Except live.
Wait, is this another accident like last time?
No, we'll see. Oh. He declined. I guess it was Jared 86. I can't see the picture, so it's hard for me to tell who it is. But yeah, Jared. Is that's not Jared? Let me see. Okay.
That's one of my guys.
My eyes are too small. I can't see the picture. Anyway, but yeah, man, I just think that at the end of the day, what if we adopted where, you know, we need to take it, to be honest with you, we need to take it out of the school system's hands to teach our children in many aspects. You know,
100%.
I'm
a huge proponent of homeschool in general. I'm a huge proponent. I think the education system is so fucked at this point. I think COVID showed just how fucked it is and how unnecessary and cumbersome it is. And we're dumping millions and billions of dollars into it, and it hasn't gotten any better. In fact, it gets worse every year. It's getting worse, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I agree. Here's the reality, and we all know, and you know this more, you know, some people may not know, the public education system in the first place was created for the purpose of creating workers. It was created for the purpose of indoctrinating kids on purpose, teach them certain things, have them accomplish certain things. And then there's an interesting little talk, I'll send it to you, I forget her name, but she did talk back in the 90s where they introduced the behavioral-based teaching, where it was like, the outcomes is not just about reading, writing, and arithmetic. Now it's reading, writing, arithmetic, and do you know how to function in society? Like they slip those things in there about like, you know, how do you interact with this person and social stuff, and how do you, like, they slipped it and changed it to where it was simply reading, writing. Can you read? Can you write? Can you do math? To where now it was, can you read? Can you write? Can you do math? But more importantly, do you know how to properly operate in society? Oh Lord, kick my whole thing. So I think that's interesting because
No,
yeah.
that sounds interesting, man. But
Yeah, but
I think we've been at it for almost 2 hours now, bro.
oh dang, have we been? Oh shoot, has it been that long? Yeah, yeah, dang, we've been flying, boy. Hey, we appreciate everybody listening in, man. Clearly there's so much more to talk about this, man. So hey, if you guys have more topics, you have more comments, we always love having you guys here. We appreciate all the input. Please like, share, subscribe. Go to the YouTube page at The Real Talking Points. Follow us. Zero Foxtrot. What's the numbers again? I always forget the numbers, bro.
2813. Zero Foxtrot 2813.
Yeah, 2813, Zero Foxtrot 2813, and Reach the Poet. You can check us out, man. And hey, we'll see y'all next time, man. If you have anything you want to talk about, please send us a message. Anything. Nothing is off limits here. We'd love to have open conversations because right now our nation is so polarized, our society is so polarized, and we're missing out on the big picture anyway. So let's talk about it. Let's get real. All right, y'all.
All right, man.
Peace. Yes.